He's like, I have one more group activity. And I was like, what, are we going to jump into the high school pool?
This is Whose Creek Is It?
The podcast where two sisters recap and pontificate about the show Dawson's Creek.
I'm Miranda, and I've seen the whole series at least 5 times.
And I'm Allison, and I'm watching this show for the very first time. Let's get started. Season 2, Episode 7, The All-Nighter.
Directed by David Semel, and the writer was Greg Berlanti. This episode had a different vibe to it, I feel like.
Yeah, it had a new character, it had a new setting.
Like, I think it was just bringing them all together, and it felt like a united group in a weird way.
Yeah, it did sort of feel like they were getting the gang back together. But some of them acted appropriately, but some people acted as if nothing had like, it seemed like Dawson was just like weirdly friendly with Jen after not really acknowledging her for weeks. So, I don't know.
Yeah, like he weirdly starts caring about her when he thinks the guy's taking advantage of her.
Yeah, it was. So yeah, we'll get to that. But it was kind of a bringing the gang back together plus one other person
whose name was Chris something. I didn't bother to figure out more about him, but yes.
Yeah. Chris. His parents are rich.
Yeah, and he's the new jock, I guess, instead of the other guy we had earlier in season 1.
Frequently there's more than one jock at any given high school. Like you might have your all-around jock that plays like football and wrestling and track or something, or you'll have your like one guy who just all he does is basketball. Or you have the rich jock who's not actually that good, but his parents pay for all kinds of gear and private lessons.
Yeah, which seems like it could be this guy.
Could be this guy.
So Dawson's in his bedroom, and he's talking about Shakespeare's work and that Shakespeare started in like romance, but then he kind of turned towards like these tragedies that would occur. And the whole time we think Dawson's probably talking to like Joey, because that's just been our experience so far, but the camera turns and it's Dawson's mom.
Yeah, Dawson's mom clearly has been crying, sitting in his bed where Joey usually does.
Uh-huh. They're both being broken up with at the same time.
Yeah, I was thinking through it, and I was like, sort of, yeah. Yeah, it was the first time we've really seen, like, we had, like, a scene of it in the last episode, but this was the first glimpse of just, like, the house with just Dawson, good lord.
Dawson would be a great name.
The house with just Dawson and his mom, now that Mitch has moved into like the worst motel. But yeah, they've clearly been like watching movies, and Dawson is, being all, and life is just a tragedy, basically.
And saying that like the reason Shakespeare was really in a tragedy was like, well, he must have found it more likely than romance. Like, just, yeah, Dawson's going through his breakup. Well, it's not really an official breakup, but like his separation.
Yeah, that was, it was basically this scene that confirmed that like they're like separated or broken up or whatever, because the ending of the previous one was like, I love you. It can't end like this. Joey runs away. It like there was no concrete definition of terms that like, we are breaking up.
Mm-hmm. It seems like the ball is in Joey's court right now, and Dawson's just trying to act like he's not bothered, that he has no control over whatever's happening between them.
Yeah. And his mom starts giving him, like, I'm worried about you not talking about it and wallowing, and he asks, well, what good would that do? That's not going to get someone back. And she's like, the wallowing isn't to do that. The wallowing is for you.
Which I can relate to. I'm like, why bother crying? It's not going to solve anything.
And true. that's well, it doesn't solve the problem, but crying actually like releases, I forget what kind of chemicals that actually do make you feel better.
Yeah, it's actually kind of important. I don't know. I've gone through periods of my life where I've cried a lot in a small amount of time, and I've cried very little in a long amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember at one point being like, God, I don't think I've cried in like a year. I'm like, that's probably not good. And and looking it up, and it's like, oh yeah, it seems like you're supposed to cry more because there's like chemicals that are good for that you get from crying instead of
Yeah.
just ignoring crying.
I'm like when I am like there's a couple situations. There's the just like I'm crying and I can't stop it and I just want to run away and hide. Like I physically cannot stop myself from crying. And then there's times when I'm like I feel like there is definitely crying potential, but I have to kind of decide
Let yourself feel it.
or like prompt it with like, oh, I remember that scene in that show made me really upset, and I know I need to cry. Let's put that on. Just as like I just need something to like push me over the edge to cry. To there's all this stored crying motivation, and I just need a catalyst.
Yeah, because if you don't kind of do the crying in a controlled burn situation.
It's a controlled burn. Then it just comes out at work and it's really embarrassing.
Yeah, and then it comes out when you really don't want it to and you can't do anything about it.
And you have to just continue being like, I'm fine. Allergies.
Yeah, I need to like put in my calendar, like watch a sad puppy video, like schedule some cry time or something. But yeah. Dawson's a little relatable. He's like, well, what's the point? It's not gonna result in any progress.
Yeah. But wait, can I tell you the last thing I used as a cry trigger?
Sure.
Because this is relatively recently. Okay, so we all have we're millennials. We have our favorite like YouTubers or internet personalities, and I was never really into the Try Guys. Like they were fine. I'm not against them. But I was just never kept up with them. I would hear about the big controversies.
I was there for all of it.
Yeah. But a few weeks ago, they did a video, and like I don't know if this is the type of video they normally do because I'm not really like I don't follow them. But it was a video exploring like the true history and continued presence of voodoo in New Orleans.
I haven't even seen that one, but go on.
It was really beautiful and emotional, and there was this wonderful practitioner who I'm blanking on their name now, but it was just... It's hard to articulate why the practitioner's positivity and willingness to share their culture, willingness to explain their culture to... They weren't all white guys, but to open themselves up and share this like important and vulnerable history and how it affects them on a daily basis and how they use it in their personal life. I don't know. It made me cry. So I've got the Try Guys voodoo video in my back pocket next time I need to cry.
I'm trying to think if any of their videos have made me cry. I don't know.
They do ones where they like eat everything at McDonald's, right? Did that make...
No, that would not make me cry, but I remember I one time watched an episode of Heartstopper on Netflix. I think it was like, God, I don't even know what season they're in now, 3 or 4 or something, and I was watching it and I wasn't expecting to cry.
Yeah.
But it was just like they were just so happy, these two gay boys in love, and it just started making me cry. I'm like, am I crying because it makes me so happy?
Well, it's particularly like, and God, I sound like such a stupid white liberal, but like just seeing like oppressed and marginalized people and their joy is so like courageous. God, I hate myself. I might ask you
sad
to
thing-
cut that out.
The sad thing is I agree with you.
Yeah,
But-
when you're just like, but then you feel guilty because you're like, this is not for me. I don't get to feel good about someone. Like,
Well, to be fair, Heartstopper is written by a straight woman, so it is kind of for me.
yeah, or there's some times in Heated Rivalry that made me cry.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, when the guy on the ice is like, you know what, I'm coming out right now.
Yeah, you finished it now?
Yes.
Oh yeah. And his friends are watching. And then in the next episode,
And then Ilya's like, I'm coming to the cabin.
Yeah. Oh my god, a really sweet thing on TikTok is people videotaping them showing themselves Heated Rivalry, or showing a friend or family member, someone they love, Heated Rivalry, and they're like, this is them reacting to episode 5 when the guy goes down on the ice. And it's just like static shot 3 minutes, and you can hear the song getting louder and the person on the couch watching and going, oh my god. So we have to find the media that makes us happy too.
I really think this is the time for a hockey player to like do that exact scene. And I'm like, I don't know, maybe all the other hockey players will not like you anymore, but you'll get famous.
And this is actually a point that was made by one of my favorite podcasters on the podcast. This Ends at Prom. And they made the point, they pointed out that hockey is sort of a self-regulating sport where, like, the reason they have fighting is that exists basically to quote-unquote maintain order. And, like, okay, if the refs didn't see that, but we need you to know that's unacceptable and you can't do that, then next time you're out, someone's just going to beat the shit out of you. And yeah, they'll get a penalty, but you need to know you can't do that. So there's kind of this vigilante justice to it in the NHL, at least. So that it could just be potentially very physically dangerous for a player to come out. Because there are a lot of like
about that.
Douchey right-wing bros in hockey.
Which is so disappointing. I don't know. It doesn't seem like the sport that would create that, but I guess all sports can have that problem.
Oh my god, the intersection of homophobia and homoeroticism in men's sports is crazy. There's so much to unpack there. But yeah, if you want to see queer hockey players, watch the Professional Women's Hockey League. It has a number of out queer players, an out non-binary player, and a couple who are married and play on the same line. There's my plug.
Cool.
Anyway, this is a Dawson's
What
Creek
does same
podcast.
line mean? Does that mean they're in the same position in the same team?
It's sort of, yeah. So if forwards go out in hockey, you have the goalie, you have two defensemen in front of them, and they're a defensive pair. Usually those two people stay together. And then you have a line of forwards. There's 3 of them. So there's one line where 2 of them are married, and then there's just a third one.
They need to write a novel.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Dawson's Creek.
How did we get here? Okay.
Crying.
Yeah, so he's having this kind of sweet moment with his mom, and she's like, you should be taking all the advantages of being the dumpy.
Yeah.
And she says something that's interesting. She says, every inch of pain that touches you makes you a deeper, more real individual.
Yeah, and I wrote down, pain makes you better, question mark? And I had the same reaction of like, but at the same time, I do like and respect and usually get along better with people who have been through some shit.
Yeah. I like to make the excuse of like, you haven't fully lived unless you've been on some high highs and some low lows.
Yeah.
Like you need the whole breadth of the experience of being alive.
Yeah, like it is true that, I mean, before we even hit record, we were talking about people that we found it difficult to connect with, and I think part of it is, if nothing that truly bad has happened to you, you kind of don't know how to empathize when bad things happen to other people.
Mm-hmm.
You're just like, wow, you have a problem? Why don't you fix it?
Sounds like Dawson.
I mean, honestly, we might have just completely justified Gail's point.
Well, I think this show might kind of be an example of like Dawson going through his growth spurt of like learning empathy and learning that, not everything's good all the time.
Yeah. There was an outburst in this episode too, where he just seemed completely overwhelmed with the human experience. He was just like, "This hurts and I can't stand it."
His mom bows out to go to bed, and Dawson's left in his room alone, and he does look longingly at the window.
At the window.
Mm-hmm.
Do 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 do.
Yep. And then it goes to the song.
Yep.
Then we're in English class, and the teacher is a douchey guy. If you recall, you might not recall. I think is he the same guy? Who's like, this is not Times Square. I think he's the same guy.
I believe you. I don't remember. I remember that scene. I don't remember the teacher specifically, but he has the same sort of attitude of like, he's ready to argue with children who aren't even saying anything yet. Yeah.
Like someone who maybe has been working as a teacher too long.
Yeah. And then also you have in some cases, teachers, I think, adopt a persona, and much in the way that students do in a high school. They adopt a persona of the jock or the brain or whatever. I think sometimes teachers adopt the persona of like, I'm the straight talking tough guy.
Yeah, I want you to like be a little fearful of me.
Yeah. So yeah, he's like introducing this big, I don't know if it's a midterm or a final, but it's like this 50% of your grade test. He's like, it's gonna be really hard, and you're all probably not smart enough.
So while he's going on about this, we see like everyone apparently is in this class together, like just all the characters except for Jack. Jack's the only one who's MIA, and I guess they were like, we're not ready to deal with him and Dawson yet. Like, let's just say he's not in this class.
Yeah.
Jen's sitting in the classroom, and some guy throws a balled up note at her, and it's revealed that the note says, "Don't forget to smile."
Ew. Like, ew. Why would you... That's not a move. And, like, this was before it was sort of broadly discussed, don't just tell women to smile. Mm-hmm. Don't do that. If no one's told you, telling women to smile is not appreciated.
Yeah.
You shouldn't do it.
This was maybe a year or two before that was, like, a common discussion, where freshman year of college, I had an English class, and I don't know, I have a resting bitch face, and I go in a class and I don't know, I was smiling about something, and my teacher was like, you should smile more. You have a nice smile. And I was like, okay.
I mean, you do have a nice smile, but I also appreciate about you that you don't, like, I think part of a quote-unquote resting bitch face is just not feeling the need to perform for everyone.
Yeah.
So, and it makes the smile all the more exciting when it happens.
Mm-hmm.
Was it a male or female teacher?
It was a male teacher.
Okay, well,
Yeah. I mean, I doubt that conversation registered with him, but he probably knows now not to do that. So
yeah, he might think twice now. And like, I'm thinking of like the one bad faith listener who doesn't listen to this podcast anyway. And it's like, no one thinks he's a terrible person for that. It's part of a broader attitudes that women should be nice things to look at in the public square and should perform happiness for the benefit of men.
Yeah. I don't know what the compulsion is when you're out in public and someone makes eye contact with you and you have to do like a yep, I'm here kind of smile. Like,
Yeah.
mhm.
The yes, I'm a person and you are too, and I acknowledge that.
I've heard that's a white people thing, though. I'm not sure it is, but
I've
it
seen that.
would make sense.
I've seen that as like TikTok videos and stuff where it's like you pass a white person on the sidewalk and they give you the uncomfortable acknowledgement smile. Which I definitely do. Anyway, this teacher is going on and on. Oh, wait, yeah. Don't forget to smile. And Jen kind of smiles.
Yeah, I mean, I think Jen is also just a fan of having some attention. Not in a, I don't mean that in a bad way, but just as a teenage girl.
Yeah. Yeah, she is not a teenage girl that fears male attention. She enjoys it.
Yeah, yeah.
Whereas I hate to be perceived in any capacity.
I'm like, how dare you acknowledge my existence? I hate this. That scene is just like, yeah, there's a big test. Everyone be concerned. Joey follows Dawson out into the hall and confronts him about being avoided by him. And he just kind of snaps at her, and I don't even really remember what the summation was, but just they have a moment in the hall where he kind of snaps loudly, and everyone slowly pauses and looks at them before carrying on with their day.
Yeah. It's hard to know without like knowing how much time has passed, because it seems like just Dawson is like we either give each other space or I have to yell my feelings at you. I can't do regular normal interactions.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes I think if someone's annoying, or not annoying you, avoiding you, sometimes it's better to just let them and take it as a sign that they need to cool off. Like,
Yeah.
but yeah, I guess it depends on how long it's been. If it's been like a few days, let him go. But if it's been like a few weeks, he needs to get over it.
Yeah.
We are in the cafeteria with Andie and Pacey. Andie is talking about some purity tests that she has in a magazine. So we know that this is going to be some kind of thing in this episode. And Pacey's avoiding the topic of seeing how pure you are, like what your sexual background is.
Yeah.
And Andie accuses Pacey of avoiding it because she thinks he's likely not done much at all. And he's embarrassed about that fact, when it turns out that it's kind of the other way around.
Yeah. And I didn't really realize it until she was like, oh, I bet it's because you don't have any experience. And then I remembered, oh, yeah, fuck the teacher.
Yeah, that little storyline. They really do. I don't know. I mean, they let it lie for a while. It is interesting how you kind of almost forget because it's just not mentioned for a while. Which, okay, I guess he's fine. I guess, I don't know. I guess there's no super long-term damage. I don't know. It's hard to say. They don't really explore that, though. But yeah, and let's see. That's when Andie mentions, like, that they should have some kind of cram session to study for the test.
Oh, wait, didn't the teacher say he was going to host it?
Yes, you're correct. Yeah,
Okay.
that was part of the discussion, was like they were going to come later in the day, I think, to study for the test, which is supposed to happen tomorrow.
Yeah. Oh, but Andie was the one who was like, we're going.
Yeah. She's like, if you're going to be my man, you got to consider your future.
Yeah. And Pacey says at some point, yo soy not concerned? Which, like, this was kind of a 90s thing where it makes you sound witty to just use a couple words in another language? Okay.
Sounds like he's going to go to the study session with Andie. And then we're in gym class with Chris and Jen. Chris being the hottie jock guy.
Who threw the don't forget to smile at Jen.
Yes, yeah. And he comes up to Jen and it's basically just flirty with her in a very cringy way.
He comes up and says, Jen-alish delish.
I missed that.
It's so bad. Like, Jen-alish that's not a word. And just, I don't like it. Ew, it was really yucky. Yeah, so he's coming off as just the worst at first.
Yeah, he's like too confident with being so cringy. Like he it doesn't even register to him because he's just like, yeah, no, I said what I said.
Yep, that's a normal thing.
Yeah, I'm not embarrassed.
Yeah, and Jen kind of like, it doesn't go all in, but entertains the attention.
And he walks away, and Dawson apparently has gym class too, and comes up to Jen and talks about this Chris guy a bit. And I don't know exactly what he says, but just like, he's a fuckboy kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, which Jen brushes off. She's like, I'm fully aware of who he is and like what he's doing.
Yeah. And then the camera swings over and he's hitting on another girl.
Yeah.
So yeah, this was the point at which I was like, so I guess Dawson and Jen are friends again?
I guess. And yeah, he brings up going to like the study session thing, and Jen's like, yeah, I guess if I don't have anything else going on.
Yeah.
And so then we see outside of the classroom door that the teacher has left a note saying that he's like bailed out of this study session because he's not feeling well. And Chris offers to host a study session instead. And Pacey's down right away. And Andie's kind of hesitant, like, I don't think this guy's worth studying with. And then Pacey's like, no, you want to go because he's rich and he has satellite TV.
They got a satellite dish. And I don't know that was like, I didn't think that was a marker of wealth necessarily. It seemed like kind of like it was like an extra thing that not everyone had, but I didn't assume that would, but it wasn't like having a boat. Like,
yeah.
So I was like trying to, I don't know, maybe satellite meant more in 1998 than I think it did.
I don't know.
And they all go, I guess we're doing this.
Yeah, I know. Somehow everyone gets roped into it. Everyone's like, all right, let's go do that.
Mm-hmm.
And they all hop into Chris's car, which is like a giant, what are those cars? It's like a GMC like truck,
like
but it's also an SUV.
Yeah, like a big SUV thing with a surfboard strapped on top. And like, I know it's Cape Side, they live near the water, but can you surf in Massachusetts? Like, I'm sure there must be places you can.
I don't know. It's not super clear, but I noticed at the end of the episode when they take his car back to the school that he still has the surfboard on top. And I'm like, I guess it's just an accessory. I guess he just brings it everywhere.
Yeah. Or it's like the Tommy Bahama trim version of the GMC.
Anyway, but yeah, when everyone's getting in the car, Dawson opens the door, and then Joey's there, and they're like, oh, I didn't know you were going to be here.
Mm-hmm. And instead of walking away or making an excuse, Dawson just gets in and pretends it's not happening, I guess.
Okay, so then they get to Chris's house. Chris is like, the TV's that way, the spa and sauna's that way. We keep extra swimsuits upstairs.
Yeah.
Which I guess is something maybe people would do, but yeah, that's some money. Just like, we have extra swimsuits for people. We just, have impromptu guests.
Yeah. I think, I don't know. I'm not sure what the connection between, never mind, this is an unfinished thought. But yeah, they just have brand new swimsuits, we find out. Just there in case someone wants to swim.
Yeah, which when we later get to the fact that it turns out you didn't need a swimsuit, you could just jump in with your clothes on. But
Yeah,
anyway,
we'll get there.
also we're introduced to Chris's little sister Dina, which I guess is just there to stir some shit up.
Yeah, yeah.
Otherwise, she's pretty much ignored by her brother.
Yeah, yeah. It's although it does sort of like she is TV coded as like kind of nerdy little sister because she wears glasses. And clearly Chris is like cool rich jock. So that dichotomy is not commented on.
Yeah. Andie insists that she's in control of the situation, and she's like, "We're here to study. I am going to make sure we study."
Mm-hmm.
And then Chris is immediately like, "Does anyone want to order pizza?"
Yeah.
And then he goes and gets like wine from their little
Yeah.
wine cellar area.
And he's talking about like liking this wine by like a mom and pop shop
Yeah.
in Napa.
It's just with Jen.
Yeah.
And they're kind of having some flirty banter where she insinuates that like she's aware of the kind of guy he is, and I don't know, all that kind of stuff. And he's like, well, I think I'm like you, where, people make some wrong assumptions, and like, it's important to just get to know somebody instead of assuming you know someone, kind of thing. So yeah, he's trying to win her over.
Mm-hmm.
And next we're back in the dining room with like everybody supposedly going to study. And I think the only two drinking wine are him and Jen. Everyone else seems to have like a cup for something else.
Maybe. I feel like I remember seeing Dawson drink wine, but yeah, they definitely cracked open a bottle of like
Yeah.
probably very expensive red wine to drink while they study, high school literature.
Yeah, which I don't know. People process alcohol differently, but when I'm drinking alcohol, I can't even figure out the tip on a receipt. So it's not my kind of idea of studying.
Ah, yeah.
They're about to start studying, supposedly, and then Chris spots Andie's magazine with the purity test.
Yeah.
They all decide that they're going to quickly take a break and do this test together. And so they're reading off questions.
It's 100 questions. 100.
I know, it's like, they start reading off some of the questions. It's like, I guess they really did scrap together a 100 question questionnaire, because there's like multiple questions about bestiality, apparently.
Yeah. So much bestiality. I guess thinking through it, because more realistically, if there was like a magazine like 100 questions of your like sexual experience, it would be things like positions or locations, which they do a little bit of, but like they can't really mention, they can't be explicit.
Yeah,
but they won't.
It's a teen show.
Yeah, but apparently you won't get censored for mentioning bestiality multiple times.
Well, one of the other things was like, one of the questions was like, have you ever had sex in your parents' bed? I was like, okay, guys, that's a little hyper specific.
Yeah, we got it.
Yeah, and then the last question is read by Joey and is, how many times have you been in love?
Yeah. Which is a great question to ask 16-year-olds. They definitely know and understand. Little sister Dina kind of bugs Dawson.
Yeah, Dina's getting all up in Dawson's business. I don't even remember what for. I think he was having some like short spat with Joey.
Oh yeah, I think, was this around the time when he like tries to talk to her and she's like, why we don't need to just keep doing this.
Yeah. It's clear that Dina has some kind of child crush interest in Dawson and understands Dawson has something going on with Joey and also Jen.
Yeah. Dina's got nothing but time.
Yeah, she's like, this. I mean, I didn't get to be this conniving, but when your older sibling brings home other people their age and you're like, how can I be involved?
Yeah. Well, unfortunately for you, I didn't have many friends.
That is not true. We had friends on our block when we lived on the cul-de-sac, and
Oh, okay.
you were
Yeah,
friends with
yeah.
some of the older kids, and
Up to
and
like
I was
yeah.
there.
Yeah, you were there. There was a little kid. There was a little boy your age.
Yeah, we really had that quintessential suburban. At least at that house that we lived in, we lived on a cul-de-sac, and like all the kids on the street would play together on the cul-de-sac.
Yeah, except they were all boys, and one of those homes was deeply troubled, and
Yeah, but yeah, I can relate being the younger one and being like, how can I make this partially about me? Andie has like gathered up everyone's scores for the purity test and starts listing them off, and then she realizes that Pacey didn't provide his,
yeah.
and Chris immediately jumps in and is guessing. Like, he's like, wait, so are the rumors true? Is this because of question 16? Which I'm like, how did he memorize the list of questions?
Yeah. And yeah, so Chris clearly has heard about Pacey's affair with Miss Jacobs, or Pacey's inappropriate relationship, and so he's like, so is it true? Is it true?
Hmm. And then Andie reads off the question, which is, have you ever had sex with someone twice your age? And she gets upset. She's like, wait, is this that teacher
Yeah, that we ran
met?
into, and you were really weird with.
Yeah, and then she's upset and kind of runs off. Dawson kind of goes looking for Andie and Pacey after that because they've just been missing.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes up to Chris at like the gazebo area and asks if he's seen them. And Chris is like, oh, well, they might be having some makeup sex or something. And says that Dawson and Joey are likely to have that happen too. So he apparently is aware that there's something going on with them too, in terms of like not being in a great place.
Yeah. Well, they've been caught fighting in the hallway now at least twice.
Yeah, yeah. So word has gotten around probably at school. Yeah, and while Dawson's talking to Chris, asks Dawson if he thinks Jen is into him. And he's like, well, Jen's kind of smart. Like she's wise and or like smart to his antics, and says something about closing the deal.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what's not what sex should be fun, and contracts and deals are not fun. So maybe it's a bad sign if you're equating the two.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And Dawson gets protective of Jen in this situation and says, like, try not to take advantage of her. Like, she's in a delicate time, or I don't know what he says, but something of like, she's not doing great.
Yeah,
Maybe
she's
don't
vulnerable.
take advantage.
Yeah.
Chris is like, whatever.
Yeah, you see that guest house when the lights are off, it's because I'm fucking Jen.
Basically. Which it's like, okay, so you kind of want to brag to guys like, oh, well, if I want her, I can have her, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So he's not nice.
Yeah.
Okay, and then next we are in a room with Jen and Joey. Jen is looking at a bunch of bathing suits with tags still on them, getting ready to go in the hot tub.
Mm-hmm.
And Joey's like sitting, trying to study, and Jen says something about like, I really am sorry about you and Dawson, which Joey is immediately defensive and like just doesn't buy it at all. And then Jen kind of snaps and is like, I thought we didn't get along because of Dawson, but maybe it was because you're just a bitch.
Yeah. It's Yeah, Jen seems in good spirits. Yeah, it was I mean, I see why Joey was suspicious, but it's also Joey, sometimes life is easier when you just play nice.
Yeah. I don't know. There's no reason to be nasty. I
Mm,
mean, she did act. Well, you know what? Never mind. She did actively try to steal Dawson back.
that's true. Is this the scene where Joey is like, I don't want to run things into the ground and talk about them over and over and over again.
Hmm.
And I
Yeah,
could
it's kind of her way of apologizing. She's like,
yeah.
look, I'm sick of having to talk about everything.
Yeah.
And but then this is where I'm like, I don't know where this is going. When she says, like, don't you want to just have something left to experience or something like that? Like, don't you just want to have something not experienced, something not achieved?
Yeah, that was a little unclear, that line. Whether it was about, like, maybe it was about experiencing something feels better than just talking about it. Or if you talk about something so much, it makes the experience less special, maybe, or less magical. But
Yeah, like, it is strange. It feels like it's more like a foreshadowing of, like it's more about Jen in a weird way.
yeah,
Like,
considering where the
Joey can tell
episode.
the future.
Yeah.
Because it kind of starts to sound like something of like why do you want to have sex with Chris, basically? Like that's kind of what I was tying it to, but I'm like, I don't understand how this conversation is happening before that.
Yeah, because she didn't really seem. Because Joey didn't seem terribly interested in Jen's relationship with Chris. I don't know. It is funny how a situation can be so bad because two people will not talk to each other, or sometimes a situation drives you crazy because people want to just keep talking about it over and over and no one can just get over it. Or we have to pick at it and optimize it, and it's just like so I've been on both sides of that. I've just been like, would you two just talk to each other? And I have been like, do we have to keep talking about this?
Yeah, I can't figure out what exactly Joey's trying to talk about.
Yeah. I don't think Joey knows what she's talking about.
Okay, so then Pacey finds Andie sitting alone, and Andie's clearly upset. She's like, "Why didn't you tell me?" And he's like, "Why would I have told you?"
Yeah, because it's like it doesn't even seem like they're official. It seems like, and this is a thing that happens especially in like high school where it's just like you're hanging out together and like nothing has been established, but it's kind of a thing now.
Hmm.
And like it's not like it does. I assume that the two of them hadn't sat down and had a partner or had a conversation about sexual partners. I don't think they probably did that, so it's not like he lied. I don't think
Hmm.
there was no point earlier. He never said he was a virgin, did he? I mean,
No.
he made that joke when she was like talking. He like was clearly being sarcastic when he was like, "Yeah, I'm just so embarrassingly inexperienced," but it was so
Yeah.
sarcastic that it was like how that clearly was not a serious statement.
Hmm. I don't know when he was supposed to have told you when you met Tamara. Like when would it have made sense for him to bring that up? Like,
Yeah, and also like we weren't looking at it this way, I'm sure, in 1998, but with hindsight, he was abused by a teacher. Maybe he doesn't want to tell you about that. People don't have a
yeah.
responsibility to share their traumatic experiences or abusive experiences.
Hmm. Yeah, and I mean honestly, I think what she's really upset about is like the version of him in her head is not the true version of him, and that he's like more complicated than what she thought, and that like from what we can tell it seems like she hasn't engaged in any sexual activity, it seems like. And so maybe she's like, I think that's a thing with younger people is like I mean, there's a lot, at least back in this time and probably when we were growing up, I feel like it was like, oh, you're not a virgin. Like it's a bad thing, but it's also like being a virgin's a bad thing and also a good thing at the same time. And I think because
Yeah.
she's kind of this like straight-laced person, I think it kind of like ruins her view of him in a
May
way, and I think that's what she's upset about.
I think there's a bit of that. I think it's also just insecurity of her being like, clearly she's interested in Pacey.
Hmm.
So just, I assume the same as you, that she's not very experienced. Probably she is just feels insecure because now she feels like they're not on equal footing or they don't have equal level of experience and or power in the relationship. But yeah, it is also what you said about she's being forced. It's one of so many circumstances where the image or idea you have of who somebody is isn't accurate because you find out like this detail that doesn't match with your like constructed image of them.
Hmm. Because yeah, she says like, well, why did you do it? Like, why did you engage with this teacher? And he explains it in a very matter of fact way. Says something like, oh well, sex. And she's like, what? And she's like, you're not like that. And he's like, yeah, I am. I don't know. I don't know what you mean.
Yeah. He is yeah, he doesn't take it to a weird like every guy wants it all the time place, but he did come at it so matter of fact, and that was almost a little strange because I don't see him as that mature or evolved.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, he's wearing
Um
a dumb dragon button-down shirt.
it is hard to take him seriously in a lot of his outfits.
Yeah, it's like it's not like a Dragon Ball Z shirt, but it like might as well be.
Uh, anyway, I mean, he seems to approach this conversation much more grown up than she is right now in terms of he's like, look, I can't change what happened. Like,
Yeah.
it happened, so
Either get over
I don't
it
know what to tell
or
you. Yeah.
yeah, he's like this might change how you look at me. And there's kind of nothing I can do about that.
Yeah. So yeah, it's basically left there.
Yeah.
Dawson runs into Jen before she goes out to the hot tub to meet Chris, and Dawson shares some concerns of like, I think he might not be acting with like the best intentions.
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, no, I know. He's like a teenage boy who has shown interest in me. I know he probably has some kind of agenda, but just because he has one doesn't mean I have to go along with it.
Yeah. Her experience in this episode was really ambiguous, which was kind of pleasantly surprising.
Yeah, it kind of gives her power in the situation, but in the end, it still feels like somehow she's kind of been taken advantage of, but she's like owning her decisions and her choices.
Yeah. I think ultimately how it turns out is that she consciously makes the decisions and owns the choices, but I think at the other side, she's having feelings that she didn't think she would have, or she realizes that she doesn't want. It seems like she wants sex to mean something, even though she was telling herself throughout this whole evening that like no, it's not anything, and she seemed sort of disappointed with the outcome, but we'll get there.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, yeah, when she talks to Dawson, I don't want to say she storms off, but she seems a little annoyed by Dawson trying to like, I don't know, not look out for her, but like he is kind of patronizing her a little bit. Like, don't you see what he's trying to do? And she's
Yeah.
like, yeah, no, I do.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a little bit patronizing.
Yeah. And when Jen leaves, Danny comes around the corner to
Dina?
Dawson. Dina? Is it Dina? I wrote Danny. Dina comes around the corner, apparently overhearing everything. And she asks Dawson which one he's in love with. Because, like, she's like, okay, so you're into her too in some way.
Mm-hmm.
But she's like, you know, I saw on your test you only said you were in love with one person.
And then and then she like waves. She has everyone's answer sheet.
Yeah, which I also was gonna say it is kind of interesting that Dawson only put he was in love with one person on the test, because I feel like at some point when he was dating Jen, he threw around like "I love you" or something to her, or said it to someone else that he was in love with her. But maybe now he's figured out that it really wasn't that long and of a relationship to really foster those feelings.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Dina, I almost said Danny again. Dina reveals that she does have all the tests and says, you know, well, on Joey's tests, she also mentions she puts smiley faces in her O's. It makes me want to puke, which honestly wouldn't expect Joey to be the kind of person to put smiley faces in her O's.
Yeah. Especially doing a weird, stupid magazine test.
Also points to the fact that this girl's like, I'm superior.
Yeah, it's very, I'm not like the other girls.
Yeah. And she like tries to bribe Dawson into kissing her in exchange for Joey's test.
Yeah. And for a second I thought Dawson was gonna do it.
Yeah, and then he was like, no.
It's like, no.
She ends up giving the information to Dawson anyway, which is that Joey put that she was in love twice.
Mm-hmm.
Which kind of internally makes Dawson go spiraling.
Oh my gosh, he spirals so much. It's he can only see himself as the main character. It's not enough that you loved him. He needs to be the only person you ever loved.
Well, I don't know. I think it's also like, when would this other guy have happened? I know everything about you.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah, this like assumption of ownership or something. But yeah, then we do cut to Jen and Chris in the hot tub, and like they're having a little chat. Then they make out a little bit, and Chris is like, "Well, you know, I just want to have fun."
Yeah. And she's like, "What's fun to you?" And he's like, "This," and then they kiss some more.
And I was just like, there's a lot of like pauses here, and I was like, wow, this is the quietest hot tub. Because I don't know, they're usually loud.
Yeah,
You
there's
hear,
a
like some
there's a
faint
whirring
bubbling.
and like bubbling. Yeah.
Let's see. Dawson runs into Pacey and asks Pacey, like, why did you answer honestly on that test? Which is kind of what the audience probably would be asking. Is like, you know, you didn't have to tell the truth for this stupid test.
Yeah.
But then Pacey's like, I just didn't want to lie to her. I feel like, I don't know, sometimes I'm like, dude, you kind of did because you withheld the test. But sometimes I feel like some people, when the guilt gets to them about not being honest about like a specific thing or like who they are to someone, they're like, well, this is an opportunity to let the fallout happen.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll take it.
Yeah, when they're like, I'm gonna have to come clean at some point. I feel pretty good today. Might as well do it now.
Yeah. Probably could have been a better time when, I don't know, you're not around a whole bunch of other people and trying to study for supposedly a very important test, but, you know, a teenage boy like, well, let's just do it now.
Yep, let's let it ride.
Then Dawson admits that, like, he's having the opposite effect of, like, you know, he's like, well, I feel like I'm just not saying a lot of things that I want to, or I feel like I should. And then Pacey's like, yeah, you should do that. You should try harder at saying the things you want to say.
Yeah. Some really, really elite advice. You should try harder. Which I know this is a tangent, but I know this isn't the case. I know it's much more technical than this, but it's hard to like look at like a cross country or a track coach and be like, so you tell them to run faster? I know there's much more to it, but like from the most basic level, it's like your coach. So you tell them to run faster, right?
Yeah, it's like I see your purpose for practices and stuff, but on the day of the actual tournament or whatever, what are you doing?
Well, I think they're. I don't know. I'm sure it is much more complicated, but I don't know the things.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so this prompts Dawson to go up to Joey and be like, "So who are you in love with? I saw your tests."
Yeah.
And Joey dodges the question and it's just like, I don't understand why, like, how we got here and, like, why can't things go back to the way they were? And Dawson's like, why would you want that?
I mean, but then it kind of later sounds like he wants that.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has some kind of 180 here.
Yeah.
And, yeah, so Dina is watching this.
But one thing I wrote down from that conversation is, like, Dawson's spiraling, and he's like, if you don't get why you having been in love twice bothers me, then you don't get me. And it was, I think what he was trying to say was that you should know that I'm a romantic, and I only in real love is only once or whatever, and like how can you not know how much this hurts me that you've felt it's just so self-absorbed and like and I want to give him grace because he's a sheltered teenager who's led a pretty charmed life, but it's just so, but what about me?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so Joey does storm off.
Yeah, and then when Dina comes around and she's like all like joyful or like, I don't know, like feeling superior watching it happen and it's not happening to her. Dawson's just like, you think that like getting a kiss is just gonna solve everything, or like that love is simple and it's not.
Yeah. And he's like, it might ruin your life and all your friendships.
Yeah, basically like, don't trust anything good because it'll be bad in the long run, basically. And then this little girl like goes off crying, and then he turns around and Joey's just been there watching that. And
yeah. And then there's just the saddest, most dramatic violin music. Just like Dawson alone in someone's kitchen, just like, what have I done?
yeah, and then he looks over to the hot tub and no one's in the hot tub. And then he looks over to the guest house and the light is off.
Yep. And he remembers
and I was
what
like,
Chris said.
When did Jen and Chris scamper off during the yelling to go? They're like, we'll take that as our cue to like go scurry off to the guest house.
Yeah, they're just like, well, now's as good a time as any.
We have a weird moment where Joey decides to be the big sister to this little girl.
Yeah, why does Joey suddenly care about Dina? Although it did take me a second to realize there were these like poster faces on Dina's like wardrobe, and I was like, who is that? And then the scene went on a few seconds. I was like, oh, those are the Hanson brothers.
Oh, I didn't
From like
notice that.
the
But...
Mbop Hansons. Their faces are just on her wardrobe. But yeah, Joey suddenly tries to be a wise big sister to this child she met today.
Yeah. I don't know. She starts off the conversation by being like, yeah, boys really do suck, huh?
Yeah, they're gonna let you down.
Yeah. And Joey's like, yeah, growing up does suck.
Yeah.
And most boys do not live up to their expectations that you have for them.
Mm.
And girl's like, aren't you supposed to be telling me nice things? And she's like, well, but sometimes everything falls into place and it makes all the bad times worth it. Okay, sure.
I mean, it reminds me of your comment that like of high highs and low lows and knowing the full spectrum of human experience.
Somehow I guess that makes Dina stop crying, I guess. I don't know. They just have a bonding moment.
Yeah.
Joey's like, "Stop crying now, okay?"
And she's like, "Okay, I will."
Okay, so then Dawson is out on the porch by himself. He starts like reading some book that I guess he needs to read.
Mhm.
And then it cuts to morning and he's still on the porch asleep with like the book in his lap, and he wakes up. And he comes into the house and like Joey's sleeping on a couch, Andie's sleeping on a couch, Pacey's sleeping on the pool table.
Yep.
Andie wakes up and panics. The test is in 4 hours, and it seemed like they didn't actually do much studying last night.
Yeah. They're all panicking. What are we going to do?
Yeah. And at the same time, Jen and Chris are waking up post sex. Chris is already out of the bed putting his clothes on. Jen is still lounging in the bed, apparently with no clothes on. And Chris thanks Jen like she opened a door for him or something. It's like, thanks.
Yeah, he wasn't like an asshole. He was
It was very transactional is what it felt like. He was like, all right, we did the thing. Thank you. I had a nice time.
Yeah. It just clearly it was he just didn't there was just nothing more to it to him. And even though it seemed like Jen knew what she was getting into, you can just see in her like waking up and looking at him leave, and you can just see her being like, this does not feel how I thought it would.
Yeah. Yeah, because she's like, "Oh, I'll go down with you." And he's like, "Oh no, take your time." And he just kind of like leaves her to get ready by herself, and she has that moment of like realization of like, well, that happened. That's kind of the vibe.
Yeah.
They all gather downstairs to do their last minute cram session. Like they're studying while they're making breakfast, and they're studying on the staircase, and they're studying in the dining room, and they're studying and reciting parts of Shakespeare by the pool.
And an unlikely hero emerges? Because
Oh, yeah.
somehow Pacey becomes like the drill sergeant of the whole affair. He's like quizzing them all, and at one point I was like, how does Pacey even know what questions to ask? Because in asking all these questions, he's showing that he has a great command of the material, but we have established Pacey doesn't study or try in school. But we got to get to the end of the episode.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a part of him where it's like he's smarter than he lets on. He pays more attention than he lets on, but he doesn't want to seem like he tries in case he fails because he doesn't want to try and fail.
Yeah.
But it is a little unrealized of how he suddenly knows so much that he can host the study session.
Yeah. And when they're sitting around the pool reciting, I forget which play, they're all wearing the tiniest sunglasses.
They're all wearing like very 90s kind of glasses.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get vibes that it kind of gives like it kind of had a Clueless energy.
It's
That,
it's a montage scene.
Yeah. They finish the studying and Pacey's like, "Now I have one more thing we have to do." And then he goes and runs and dives into the pool, and suddenly the camera goes to slow-mo and everyone's diving in after him fully clothed.
Fully clothed. And seemingly they just get right back out. It was... I need a story editor here. I need just like, give me like a line to justify this something.
I think what happened is that they paid for this set and they had a big old pool, and they're like, well, we got to do something with this pool.
Yeah, that legit might be it. And if they hadn't had done something else nonsensical and weird with them all later in the episode, I probably would have let it slide. But they just decided to pull something weird and unnecessary twice.
Yeah, I feel like they kind of had fun with this one, maybe a little too much.
Yeah, I mean, this was definitely, yeah, and let's do a silly one, guys.
Yeah, like, I mean, I think about it and I'm like, did anything really progress in this story? Not really.
I mean, we
Like,
get a little more information about where Joey and Dawson stand.
yeah. And a little bit with like Andie and Pacey. Okay, so yeah, they all dive into the pool, and when they get out of the pool, Andie and Pacey hang back. Andie sort of apologizes, and she's like, I guess I can't be mad at you about not sharing everything since, like, I have my own things that I wasn't super forthcoming about. And then she kind of explains that she felt insecure about her lack of experience compared to what she now knows about him. Then, like, what do they say? He's like the slacker boyfriend or the slacker, and then she's like, I don't even want to hear the name you give me or something. And he was like, you are the girl I love to hate. And then
Yeah, and then they kiss. It's the girl I loved.
And she's like, I love to hate you too.
Yeah. And like, I mean, I get it, but I get it, but I don't get it. I feel like you just shouldn't, even if you are sarcastic, I don't know. I didn't love it.
It is like, I feel like they're still dancing around their emotions in a way. They're like, I can't just say I love you, so I gotta say I love to hate you.
Yeah, it's clearly, I think the writers wanted to reach some kind of like conclusion or declaration, but they haven't reached the emotional depth or level of experience with each other where that would be believable, so they had to do something kind of cheeky.
Yeah. So next we cut to Dawson and Joey, and Joey appears to be in the laundry room in a robe, and so my guess is they're explaining that their clothes are dry because they put them in the dryer.
Yeah.
And Dawson tells Joey that he had wished that he could take back that first kiss, but then he realized it was worth all the pain, like seeing her in a new light and seeing what else they could be, made it worth taking that leap, I guess you'd say.
I guess, yeah, he had a change of heart that I wasn't. It seems like he got a good night's sleep and then he felt better. Like,
and then Joey explains the being in love with two people thing, and the whole time you're just like, why? Why did you make it complicated? Why did you? I don't know. But she says like, oh, like I fell in love with you twice.
yeah. Once when you were my friend, and then when we got together, I fell in love all over again.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay. That the test did not ask that, but sure.
Yeah, I think you took some liberties with the answer to the test, Joey.
Yeah. I also, yeah, I think you took it maybe too seriously and also really just caused a problem that didn't need to be there. But okay.
I mean, you could go back further and be like, we didn't need to take this goddamn test.
I don't know what that is, though. Sometimes when, I mean, I don't think it happens as much when you're an adult. Like, you're like, nope, that seems like a bad idea, and I'm not going to engage. But, like, I feel like teenagers are like, ooh, let's do this thing that can only cause problems.
Yeah. Because you just want to be included, and you don't want to be the one that's not doing the thing. And so, yeah, they have this. Dawson's like, and it's all okay, and I'll give you lots of space, but I don't regret it.
Yeah, she's like, it's me that I'm unsure about. It's not you, I guess. And then Dawson finds the interest to give her some grace and be like, I'm going to give you some space and I'm not going to be a dick about it. At least that's what he says he's
Yeah.
not going to do. And he says, yeah, no, nothing will change how I feel.
That's not how feelings work. Um, but yeah, he's affirming to her that yes, you're still important to me, and he's
Yep.
just in a better mood. I don't know. And then before they leave the house,
He walks into a room where Dina is asleep on the couch and Dawson takes a look at her and then goes up and kisses her on the forehead and leaves, and clearly she was like awake cuz she opens her eyes and is just thrilled.
yeah, and what I wrote down before he even did it was, leave the child alone. you, you didn't just go, Dawson.
It would have been fine if he had done nothing.
Yeah. It would have been fine if he just had like a knowing smile and walked away. Or blew her a kiss. Something. I don't know.
Yeah. It's a little weird to kiss a child while they're asleep and you're not their parent. But anyway.
Yeah, you know.
So they all hop back into the car, and then I wrote with the surfboard on top. And
Yep.
we see them in the hallway, and the teacher has once again left a note saying, hey, I'm actually too sick, so test is postponed.
Yeah, I hope this old crotchety teacher isn't dying.
And apparently a substitute teacher can't handle holding the test.
No. No way. And someone's like, I guess we just go to our classes, and Pacey's like, no. Or was it Dawson?
No, I think it was Pacey.
He's like, I have one more group activity. And I was like, what, are we going to jump into the high school pool?
No, there's no dryer. We'll just go sleep on the football field.
Yeah, and it ends with them, like, sleeping in, like, a pinwheel in the center logo of the football field, and a Bare Naked Ladies song about sleeping is playing. And that was, yeah, so it... Why we do that? I don't know. That's where it ends.
Yeah, I can't explain it. I don't know why the football field was needed. I guess maybe I'm really trying to vouch for the writers. I'm like, they got to the classroom and they knew that why couldn't the test just be held that day? What would have been the problem with that? I don't know.
We don't know. But you know what? The presumably, I hope they're ready for the test when it someday happens.
Yep. Yeah, and the timeline of that morning's kind of unclear.
Yeah, they apparently just like skipped their first couple classes to study. Because I don't think any high school starts at like 10.
Yeah, and I saw on IMDb someone was like, so why was his little sister still there? Didn't she have school?
Yeah. I don't know, man.
I don't know. It is also like, I don't know if like ditching school was more of a thing in the 90s, because like there's been some previous episodes where they've like left school early or whatever, and there doesn't seem to be any kind of fallout for that.
Well, this was pre Columbine, pre 9/11, so there was, I think,
They weren't really tracking the kids.
Yeah, they weren't tracking the kids the way they are now. The kids didn't have cell phones.
Yeah, I'm like, maybe they didn't take attendance every class. I don't know.
Or something. But yeah, it was the Wild
They weren't
West.
like, hey, we need our tax money for you being here.
Yeah, they weren't like, oh, if you're not here, you might be trying to murder other students. Like...
Anyway,
So-
that was an episode.
Yep, that sure was an episode. Yeah, that was... Every once in a while, they periodically have these, like, and everyone gets together for a thing episodes.
Yeah.
It's Friday the 13th and definitely not Halloween. Everybody get together. we're all gonna have detention. Everybody get together, and we're all gonna study at a rich kid's house.
It's like, all right, we need more drama, and now we need to take a breath, and now we need more drama. And
Yep. It's it's a dramatic tool of like you let the tension rise, you let the tension rest, you let it. Yeah. Tell me, Miranda, whose creek is it this week?
I gotta list some possibilities, some people in the running. I'm gonna say Dawson. Gonna say Jen. Joey, meh. I don't think so, really. I don't know. I feel like there's not one like some people are having some changes of heart.
How about, you know what? What if it's Dina's creek? Because hear me out. I could see this being like a treasured memory for her this evening. I could see her being like, this magical night when my parents weren't here and I got to hang out with all my brother's friends and an older
And my
boy
brother
kissed
disappeared
me.
to go have sex with somebody.
Yeah. And a boy was mean and yelled at me, and then a girl was nice to me, and then I stopped crying, and then I slept on a couch, and then a boy kissed me on the forehead, and he thought I was asleep, but I wasn't.
Honestly, she probably did have the most memorable time out of everybody.
'Cause, yeah, if it wasn't her, I'd probably Dawson or Pacey.
Yeah, it feels like no one really earned their keep in this episode.
So, yeah, I'm throwing Dina a bone.
Okay, you know what? I think I'm just gonna say I'm with you on this.
It was Dina's creek.
She really orchestrated a lot of things happening.
Yep. She pushed Dawson fully into his latest spiral.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Otherwise, I don't know. Maybe it's a cramming before tests creek.
maybe it was the teacher's creek, because he's like, I am in charge. I make the decisions. You will all wait for me.
He's like, I made all this happen.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, I'll agree with you. It's Dina's Creek, and I really hope we're getting her name right because I have no idea anymore.
It's going to be really funny if it's Danny. I'm pretty sure it's Dina.
I think you're right, or maybe it was Diane. I don't know. I think it was Dina.
I think it was Dina too. Well, what do we have coming up next?
Yeah, coming up next is episode 8, The Reluctant Hero. I don't recall what this is about.
I don't know. It seemed like Pacey was the reluctant hero of the study session. No, he wasn't that reluctant. He was unlikely, but I guess we'll find out who is reluctant and about what.
Why do we need a hero? I don't know.
Yeah. We'll find out next time.
Yep. On Whose
Whose
Creek
Creek is it?